think maybe the charm about Konvent is that none of us has gone to like music college. Of course, we've had lessons in various forms when we were younger, but it's all pretty. I don't know if I want to use the word self-made, but like when we write music, we don't really think about music theory or like putting like songs, or when you write a song, you have to put it into this box or have this like recipe for a song. We just kind of just try to write what we feel like.
Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. Hope you had a killer weekend. I most certainly did. This Vox and Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter, and I'm very stoked to have teamed up with them to bring you Heavy Montreal Presents Vox and Hops Brutal Montreal 2022, which will be happening in my hometown, Montreal, on September 2nd at Corona Theatre. This year's event features Deicide performing their classic album Legion in its entirety, alongside Cataclysm, who will be performing their classic album Serenity and Fire in its entirety, as well as with Inhuman Condition, and I am very stoked to announce that we have added the powerhouse Undeath to Brutal Montreal 2022. I can't be more stoked about this. Tickets for Brutal Montreal 2022 are flying. Trust me, if you want to come to this year's event, you should pick up your tickets now via the link in the description of this podcast, because it is going to sell out and you're going to miss out on the chance to hang out with me and enjoy life, metal, and craft beer in my hometown of Montreal. It's going to be a blast. Don't miss it. I'm very stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I'd just like to ask you to follow the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. But more than that, I would love for you to tell a friend about the podcast. If there's someone in your life that just loves metal, loves extreme metal, loves thrash metal, loves deathcore, loves metal, well, do me a favor and let them know that the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast exists. You can tell them that there are over 350 episodes where I hang out with some of the world's best metal musicians, and that's the absolute truth, and we talk all about their lives and music while enjoying a craft beer. If you would encourage one of your friends to become a brand new Vox and Hops head, that would be something that I would truly appreciate. Now, today I'm very stoked to be back with Rikke, Emilie List of Konvent. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox and Hops episode number 357.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I am back with Rikke, Emilie List of Konvent. Rikke, you were one of the first, if not top 10 pandemic interviews that I did remotely like this, and here we are 2 years later, hanging out again. Before we started recording, I said, oh, it's a shame that we're doing this like this again and not face-to-face, but I am happy to hang out with you again. How have you been doing? Let's start with the simple. How are you doing on this it's Saturday, and how are you doing?
Pretty good. I've had, this interview is my only plans for this weekend, and it suits me very well. We just got back from tour, so really needed a quiet weekend off, and then like the next many weekends we have festival plans and show plans, and yeah.
Well, I'm happy that it worked out. I'm happy that I am your only plans of the weekend. It is an honor to disrupt your restful weekend to hang out with me to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer again. Let's jump into the shittiest question, the one that I like to ask. I did ask you last time, but it was so fresh and it was so new. And it was really, really scary at that point. The fear has died down a little bit. We understand what the hell's going on a bit more. How have you been coping with the glorious year of 2021 and half of 2022? You've been pretty busy, but how have you been coping during these glorious times?
Very up and down. I think in the beginning of 21, we were still writing our latest album. Mm-hmm. And our rehearsal space got closed, got shut down for 5 months. And I mean, we can do a lot of things from home, like writing riffs and writing lyrics, but at some point you just really need to put on drums. And none of us live anywhere where you can have like a drum kit in the living room. So yeah, that was pretty frustrating, and just not knowing what was going to happen. just not knowing if everything was going to be closed down for like 5 months as it was, or 10 months, or what was going to happen. So I think that was pretty scary. But yeah, we managed to finish the album and record it last year, and this year we released it, and we were so lucky to finally go on this tour that we just got back from. So all in all, it's been started out scary, but I think it's like right now we're on a more positive note, I think.
I like that, and I've been following the progress of Konvent since the beginning, and I'm just so damn stoked at how much you've blown up since our last conversation. The hype was there, but now everyone else seems to have also jumped on the hype train of Konvent, and that makes me very, very happy for you. Vox and Hops, as you know it, is all about hanging out with my metal friends, talking about their lives, music, and craft beer. So what beer do you have on your side that we're going to be sharing virtually this time? Last time it was a Kissmayer. I wonder what you have this time.
This time it's an Implosion by the Danish company To Øle, which means two beers. And it's actually a non-alcoholic beer this time, because, as I said, we just got back from tour, and alcohol and I, we had a very close relationship on that tour. But now we're on a small break.
That's good. That's good. No, it's important to listen to your body and to take care of yourself and to find that balance. And it is something that's intense on the road. Every night is a fun night for the people coming to the shows, and they expect us to have just as much fun as they are having. If it's a Saturday night or a Monday night, for them it's a big night, but for us it's another day at work, a fun day at work, but sometimes that can get a bit out of hand, and you need to rest when you get home. I learned that when I went to go play a show 2 weeks ago in Winnipeg. I had a lot of fun, specifically at this brewery, Sookram's Brewing from Winnipeg. We did a pre-fest party there. I went there afterwards. They basically fueled the entire festival. The Manitoba Metal Fest was like packed with Sookram brews. So yeah, I had to take a few days off when I came home from that as well. This is Plot Twist from Sookram's Brewing. It's a Coffee Pilsner, which is pretty cool, 5%. I like putting coffee in everything. I like coffee, and it's 1 p.m. for me, so why not? I'm going to crack this, and I would love to dig into the evolution of your craft beer palate. I like to ask this question when I have return guests. Have you changed or evolved since our last conversation in craft beer? Are you more of an enthusiast? Have you stepped away? Talk to me about what's been going on in craft beer in your life recently.
Actually, I think it's a pretty boring story because, as you mentioned yourself, I think that I have sort of stepped down a bit. I think it's a mix of, being in lockdown, haven't been out that much within the past 2 years. I also live with my boyfriend who doesn't drink alcohol, so we just never really have alcohol at home. Like, sometimes I'll have the odd, glass of wine or, a beer if I really feel like it. But yeah, a mix between those two things, and then, went out on tour, and then it got completely out of hand.
It's the yin and the yang, Rikke. You got to find the yin and the yang. Cheers to you.
Yeah, still searching.
I'm happy to be hanging out with you again. Cheers.
You too.
So it's got the Pilsner on the nose. I'm not feeling coffee right away on the nose. Maybe a little bit. But on the mouth, it's like a bang of coffee bite, bitter bite. Super smooth.
Yeah, what's it like compared to coffee stouts?
Exactly. So a coffee stout would be more malty and caramel and chocolatey, whereas this is more cereal forward, more crisp, more dry. Much less sweet, and then the coffee just comes and gives it a nice little bitter snap. Really, really cool. Shout out to Andrew and the rest of the crew at Sookram's for being so damn cool and hooking me up with this brew. I like it very much. Very, very cool. I would love to talk about the Konvent Pop. That's what I wrote down here. The Explosion. I just had Alexander Jones from Undeath on. I sort of have the same vibe as Undeath with Konvent, different genres, different pops, different hype explosions, but still similar, being that you guys were just on the cusp when I had you on the podcast the first time, and now here we are the second time, and the band has just exploded. Take me through exploding during a pandemic. that doesn't happen very often, and it must have been confusing and scary.
I don't think it. Yeah, I mean, the pandemic has been scary, but we're all just so excited about the band, and we really want to see where we can take this. I think 2022 is already a bit of a fun year for us, or like a weird year, because we can finally go out and do a lot of the shows that have been postponed for like 3 or 2 years. So we have a lot of those coming up this summer, and we're having some new shows added on for the fall. Also, our guitarist Sarah, she had a baby.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, so that's a first.
Wow.
So we still have to learn how to navigate that.
It's like an extra level, and this is I've had a baby and then gone on tour, but to have the baby and then go on tour.
Yeah, but she didn't go on tour with us. We were so lucky to find a substitute. Mm-hmm. A really amazing guitarist called Sophie Lake, who has played in like a black metal band. She has a punk band on the side. Just such a skilled guitarist, and we're just so lucky that she wanted to go on tour with us, and she just fit right into the group dynamics.
So important to find a fill-in person. We have Dom Grimard that steps in for Ollie because he's so busy with cattle nowadays. But to have just someone that, like a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
There's so many edges that has to fit.
Exactly.
To make the band, you have to be cool. That's like this little nub there. And then the little inside thing is you have to be able to play the songs. And then you have to, not be someone that gets too drunk and drinks everyone else's beer. At least not my beer. And then you just have to be cool. Like it's very, very complex to replace someone. So congrats to Sarah. And she got to finish she was basically birthing 2 babies.
Yeah.
When creating the album.
Yeah. I think she gave birth like was it a week or something after we released the album or something. Yeah. So it was pretty fun timing. Yeah, but it's been so weird because we didn't get to see the baby until like 2 months after he was born, because then we had to go on tour and just so many things were happening all at once. So, but we finally got to meet him and see Sarah again. That was just a pretty big experience.
It's family, eh? We're bandmates. We're family. We love each other. In the band we call each other.
We call each other, our like the other girls are my wives, and like we're just married.
Basically, you signed a contract together.
Yeah.
But the pop, like as you're in it, I imagine it's difficult to see it happening. But is there like a specific moment where you're like, oh shit, Konvent's at the next level now?
I think that's a hard question to answer, because I feel like this year we're playing a lot of shows that were planned a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I think we're just very, very excited to see what 2023 holds for us, because hopefully it's a lot of new tours and new shows, and hopefully we can leave Europe and try and play outside of Europe. That would be huge for us.
Come to North America.
Yeah, we really want to.
Come on, Napalm. Let's get Konvent in North America, please.
Yeah, please. Yeah. But I think it's definitely not off the table. But of course, our booker has been completely stressed out for the past 2 years, and it's
mindless the amount of changes they've gone through. When you were watching, like, you've been booked on these festivals, and I've seen it happen to other people, so I wonder if it happened to you guys. Did you see your logo like climb up the flyer as the new evolutions of the flyers came out?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, actually. But then again, we're playing Mystic Festival in Gdansk in Poland next week, and they didn't put us on the poster at all.
Oh no. Their mistake. Come on, Paul.
Yeah, I think that's probably a mistake. But so it's like you win some, you lose some.
It's the number one rule that Mega, Cryptopsy's front of house tour manager, when we're in Europe, he's also the Agonist's front of house as well. The best thing that he ever taught me, he's like, Matt, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you still have to show up to the fight, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
exactly.
not, when things are not in your control, what are you supposed to do? So, so there's no specific moment you don't think. There's no, because, Konvent just started as a passion project and it just got picked up, and then it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And you have to imagine, and people say this about Lorna Shore, how they've popped as well, but they've been doing it for a long, long time in comparison to Konvent, and that's no disrespect. I'm just imagining someone studying this from the outside would love to know what the secret is, and obviously there is no secret. But if you could pick a secret as to why Konvent's working so well, what would it be? Another hard question.
It could be many reasons. I think maybe the charm about Konvent is that none of us has gone to music college. Mm-hmm. Of course, we've had lessons in various forms when we were younger, but it's all pretty. I don't know if I want to use the word self-made, but we don't. When we write music, we don't really think about music theory. Mm-hmm. Or putting songs, or when you write a song, you have to put it into this box or have this recipe for a song. We just kind of, I don't know, just try to write what we feel like. And yeah, I mean, Sarah and Heidi, they write the riffs that they feel like writing, and then Sarah's riffs are always pretty odd. They don't really take the drums into account, and but I think that's it's hard work for Julie, our drummer, to make the drums fit and to work with it. But in the end, it's totally worth it, because I don't know, Sarah just writes funny riffs. And we absolutely love that about her.
It's interesting to come at that way too, to have it be so unorthodox, uncalculated, and not normal. It does create a new atmosphere for you guys to build upon, which is the charm of Konvent. I think that's very, very cool. Anyone listening, you gotta find the thing, people. There's something, and you have to make it your own, and find your own identity, and you can't want to be someone else. That's the secret. Last time we spoke together, we did not talk about the first show that you went to go see. Do you remember the very first show that you went to go see?
I think that must have been, way back in the 90s. I don't know if he's canceled now, but Michael Jackson was playing in Copenhagen, and we didn't have tickets or anything for the show, but it was a huge deal. I mean, fame in the 90s was absolutely mind-blowing. It was like famous people were sort of like gods somehow. It was huge. And I remember the night that he was playing, my dad asked, should we, I don't know, get in the car and drive by the venue and just I don't know, stand outside and hear if we can hear it from outside.
Just to witness, just to be there.
Yeah, just to be there. Yeah. And I was game. I wanted to go, and my sister, she didn't want to go. So my dad and I, we jumped in the car and we went to the venue. And then we got outside and we were standing a bit. And then this, I think it's called a bookie, came up to us and was like, hey guys, you want to buy some tickets? And my dad had forgotten his wallet. He was like, damn, I don't have my wallet. I think he was offering some discount or something like that.
Because the show had already started.
Yeah. It was halfway through or something like that. And then my dad was like, I forgot my wallet. Damn, this is such a shame. And the bookie was like, you know what? It's been a while now. I don't think I'm going to sell these tickets. You know what? You can just have them.
Wow.
And they worked, and we got in.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was so young. I don't know, 7, 8 years old or something. So going into that venue, it was a huge stadium, and going into the venue, it was a pretty frightening experience, because people were going crazy, and when you're a little kid. But we were there for a few songs, I think, and I still remember it, and I just have this memory of him dancing on stage, and then he throws his hat into the crowd, and just seeing that sea of people diving into it was like a whirlpool had opened in the middle of the floor. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just completely mind-blowing, but we weren't there for that long. Then I was like, Dad, it's scary. Can we leave?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So I really, really regret that to this day, but, you're a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was my first experience with live music.
Wow. That's a big one. It's hard to top that, and Michael is canceled, but was a big star. Definitely sang some good hits. Not a nice person, but I find myself doing that a lot. I go to shows now, and I will watch the band, obviously, but I really enjoy watching a crowd, especially when the band has them. I don't know if you do that as like a front person, looking out at the crowd and like watching other performers just totally dominate a crowd. I don't know if that's something you do.
I actually don't think I don't think I do that. I think I notice when the communication with the crowd sort of goes wrong. If there's a lead singer who's like, he wants the show to be like this, but the show is completely opposite, or like he wanted to be the craziest show ever, and there's only like 10 people, and like it's a Monday, and yeah, they just want to stand and listen to the music. And so I think I notice it more when the lead singer or the band doesn't really adapt to the actual crowd, but they're sort of playing for an imaginative crowd.
So some artists perform the same show every show, and I've toured with people that do this. It's okay, but it's always nicer when like an artist caters the experience to each crowd, and I think that's something, when you connect with an audience, it's important to do that. It's making every audience basically its own unique conversation, and I think that's super important as to dominate a crowd, to connect with the crowd. Well, what steps have you taken? You have a lot of big shows coming up. You have played a lot of shows. Do you remember your first time on stage? The last time we spoke about how you developed your voice, developed your growl, you took some lessons, you connected with someone at a show, and he gave you some lessons. Do you remember your first time on stage performing extreme vocals, and what that feeling was like? Were you as afraid as you were when you were 7 and you saw Michael Jackson, or were you more comfortable?
Yeah, I definitely remember the first time on stage, because I was shaking just uncontrollably before. I don't think I've ever been so nervous in my life. But we, and everybody in the band was just terrified. But we did it, and we went up on stage, and I think we were just extremely lucky to have like the crew at the venue were so nice. The bands that we were playing with that day were also so nice and very supportive. Some of our friends from Copenhagen had went all the way to surprise us, to show their support, and that was just really amazing and overwhelming. To just feel supported and be like, okay, even if you go up and we mess it up, like at least we have all these people who want the best for us. And then we went up and we did it, and we had like the longest breaks between each song because like none of us, like, we hadn't talked about, okay, who's gonna start this song, who's gonna, like, when should I say something. And so I think the crowd must have been a bit like, what's going on?
Your first show was a big show, if I remember. Am I wrong there?
Yeah, it was maybe there have been like I think there was maybe, I don't know, 100 people, 200 people or something.
Which is like a good way to start.
Yeah, it was in the fourth biggest city in Denmark.
Mm-hmm. I definitely, I remember hearing that. So obviously you guys got a lot better at organizing your set lists and how the show is going to go on, turning a list of songs into a performance. How have you evolved your frontmanship? How have you evolved your communication with the crowd? And how much do you actually think about that? Do you actually think about that? Because it's something I think about.
Yeah, I do. Definitely. It's something that we talk about in the band. Like, we agree, like, okay, after 2 songs, I should probably say something. Before the last 2 songs, I should say something, depending on if we're going to do an encore or not. And I like to, depending on the crowd, maybe take something from the crowd, or if there's a person in the front who's being particularly enthusiastic, then acknowledging that. Or remember on this tour, I saw a guy in a 1914 t-shirt in the back, and I just gave him a shout out on stage and said that was really cool, because we were supposed to be on tour with 1914, but because of obvious reasons they couldn't make it. And the band Implore, who took their place, they had a donation box by their merch stand, and I just acknowledged this guy that he was wearing this t-shirt and just asked the crowd if they could spare €1 or something. Then there was this box, and it was going to go to Ukrainian charity and stuff like that.
I've seen you crowd surfing.
Yeah. I love it when I can do that. But I think it was only twice on this tour. So yeah, you can see that people are still a bit reluctant to go to shows. And still, we haven't had a lot of sold out venues. But hopefully that's just going to be a question of time.
Mm-hmm,
Maybe
definitely.
next year it's going to be way better, and people are going to, miss the shows even more. And yeah, hopefully we're going to go back to normal. But yeah, let's see.
Soon. But it is a funny thing when you have in your mind, you're like, I'm going to crowd surf, and then there's a whole bunch of things you have to go through in your mind before you take the leap. While still singing and figuring things out, and keeping track of where you are in the song. And then you have to where am I going to put my feet? Can I make that jump?
Yeah.
Are they going to catch me? If they don't, how many people are filming that are going to capture this video of me face planting?
Yeah, at least make it look cool.
But it's a complex thing, making that decision. So hopefully when the venue's sold out, it sort of just makes a lot of those check marks. At least the will they catch me one a little bit more probable,
yeah.
Because they're so tight together.
Yeah.
You guys dropped Call Down the Sun via Napalm Records on March 11th. Talk to me about this new record. Talk to me about what changed. Is there anything that changed for yourself preparing for this record versus the previous one? I'm neck deep in writing new lyrics and placing lyrics for the new Cryptopsy, so it's really in my mind right now. I was literally doing it about 20 minutes before we started this for another song for the new Cryptopsy. So to talk to me about this record, what did you apply differently? Did you apply something differently, or did you go by the motto, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Well, we could have done that because we received a lot of really positive feedback on the first record. But that meant that we also had a lot of, we had really high standards for ourselves and high expectations for ourselves for the next one. And we all agreed that we all wanted to challenge ourselves even more, because we really wanted people to, see or notice or hear that we had developed, because I think we're still at a stage where there's a lot of developing to be done. I'm happy with the place that we are, but we can definitely do more, I think, or try new things. And yeah, we sort of set some challenges for ourselves, and I think we're a bit afraid of how people are going to receive the album, because the writing process had been obstructed so much because of COVID. And even though we were at home, the hard follow-up,
it's so
album.
stressful. I'm so glad that my first record with Cryptopsy wasn't successful. I can only get better. Had it been a super big success, that follow-up would have been so stressful. And the follow-up question is, it's were there moments you guys wrote stuff and then you were like, no, this is not good enough, and you scrapped it and you had to keep going?
Yeah, that definitely was times where we did that, and riffs that we tried working with that just ended in the no pile. Yeah.
What is people's ego in those situations? Most bands, it tends to be for the good of the band, but sometimes there's certain riffs that people really, champion, and they want that riff.
Yeah.
How did everyone cope with their babies being thrown in the no pile?
Yeah. So a long time ago we learned that there's it's not called no, it's called let's try and work with it.
How can we change it so much that it's not your riff at all anymore?
Yeah, something like that. And just acknowledging that person's work and saying, okay, let's try and put some drums on it. Let's try and put this riff after the other ones that we have, or in between, or like let's try and place it in in the song that we're writing. And I mean, at some point everybody sort of acknowledges that, okay, this just doesn't work.
But you exhaustively try to make it fit.
Yeah, we've tried, and I think just acknowledging that person's work and say, okay, but we've tried everything now, and that person can say, well, okay, we've tried everything, and I can see now that it doesn't work.
How different was this than previous? Like, do you guys typically write in a room together?
So it works best if everybody is just like writing at home, like in their own safe space and without a lot of people watching them, and with no pressure. And then Sarah or Heidi will send us their riff ideas, and Julie and I will sort of think about it and like figure out, okay, what can we write? And then Julie will try and put on some drums, and we'll figure out, okay, how many times should this riff repeat itself, and how should the drums like build up and all that. And while that's happening, I'm sort of thinking about, okay, what should the lyrics be about, and where can I actually put the words?
Interesting, because you guys sort of sound like a jam band.
Yeah, okay.
You have the vibe of it, like the ritualistic repetition of stuff. You guys sort of feel like that. So it's interesting that you don't write in that context.
Yeah, no, we tried doing that, but it didn't work. It was too stressful. The pressure was on.
It's everyone's eyes on you.
Yeah.
So do you write, then you take all your stuff, and then you know where you're going to put your lyrics. You finally get your lyrics done, and then you submit demo takes to the band, or do you jam it out at that point with them? How do they finally hear your voice on the music?
So it's like we build the small blocks together. So the riffs will be there at first, and then we'll meet up at the rehearsal space and then work on the drums. And I'll sit on the couch and be a lazy singer and just with a beer and like listen and go, where should I put the lyrics? And then I'll go home and write. And then the next time we meet up, then we'll have hopefully, the riffs and the drums and some lyrics, maybe some placeholder lyrics if I haven't figured out something. And then we try to write like the next part of the song. And so it's like riff, drums, vocals, riff, drums, vocals.
But for each section, not for a song in general.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know how to explain it in English, but like a continuous like work flow.
Interesting. It's interesting. I've never thought of building a song that way.
That's the charm of Konvent.
I like it. I think it's interesting. Something that I helped introduce you to. I'm not sure if anything has come of it as of yet. And if things have happened and you can't talk about them, I completely understand and respect that. Of course, I'm talking about the Monster Factory. The wonderful Sébastien Croteau runs a group of extreme metal vocalists to do voices for movies, TV, video games. I'm a part of it, and so are 100 other extreme metal vocalists from around the globe. And Rikke, you are a part of the Monster Factory. Talk to me about your experience with the Monster Factory, if you can talk about stuff, because I know there's a lot of NDAs that we've signed and we can't talk about much.
Yeah, definitely. So all in all, I've just had a really nice experience with talking with the Sébastien and the other people involved. But no jobs have ticked in yet. I don't know. I think maybe video games in Danish is not really that big a thing over here. So I'm not sure if many jobs will tick in. But I don't have anything that I'm working on right now that I can't talk about.
Because it is interesting what he's done is that he's found extreme vocalists from different countries, so that if the game, say the Monster Factory gets hired to do the English version and the French version, because we're from Montreal and we have both English and French here, when the game gets translated into different languages, there would be extreme vocalists that can speak that language that would be able to pull it off just as good as all the rest of us could. So you've been enlisted in case a game ever gets translated into Danish, which is super cool. It will happen. Video games are cool, and Danish people must like video games. It's coming.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's something that I would love to do.
I have a blast doing it. It's like really different than anything doing stuff for bands. I find it easy. We can scream for hours, right? So it's fun. It's a lot of fun to just step in a room with a bunch of other metal vocalists and pretend to be zombies for a Friday afternoon. It was a lot of fun, and lots of fun. You got to play a bunch of shows, but there was a period of time that you didn't get to play shows. How did you fill the void of performing? I'm very, very lucky that I get to sit here. Right before I sit down here, I'm worried, is my internet going to work? Am I going to connect? Am I going to remember what I asked Rikke last time I had her on? Am I going to, are we going to have, this is how I've been filling the void of performing. How did you do that when you weren't playing shows?
Well, so in the beginning of COVID, I got a job. I got a full-time job. I got a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Congrats on that too.
Thanks. Yeah, so that took up a lot of my time. I spent a lot of time on that, and then just I don't know, staying at home, watching movies, watching Netflix.
It's good fun.
Yeah,
it feels good.
Yeah, we went to a couple of shows, but had the whole COVID experience with sitting down and wearing masks and all that. But then everything was open, then everything closed down again, and it's kind of it came like in waves.
Mm-hmm. I hope that the waves are subsiding and that life comes back to normal. It feels that way here in Montreal right now, so I hope it keeps going in this direction.
Yeah, me too. We had so on the tour that went on, it was like first 2 weeks and then a break and then 2 weeks again. And on the first 2 weeks, we were quite worried about COVID. I had recently had it, so I wasn't that worried. But some other people in the bus, they haven't had it yet. So they were pretty worried, which I totally get. But on the second leg of the tour, it just didn't cross my mind at all. Like, it was as if it was just gone. Yeah, at that time. So, it's funny how fast you can adapt to just a new agenda.
Well, it sounds like we're just ripping the pages out and we're back to where we used to be. Hopefully that is the way it keeps going. Something that I've been wanting to do for you, but I haven't done for you as of yet, is create a Konvent beer. But there was a Konvent beer, and correct me if I'm wrong. I had as I was writing this out, I had a flash. I'm like, oh shit, they did. It was Royal Export. Am I correct with that? They made a bunch of Danish artists. Cabal had one. You guys had one. What was the story behind this? It was like a fundraiser. Am I crazy?
So they were just they were thinking a lot about these bands who were like standing in front of like their breakthrough or like had just released records or something and had all their shows taken away from them because of COVID. And they just wanted to do some collaborations with a lot of different bands, a lot of different genres, like 15 different bands. In all types of genres, and they just they didn't brew like a new beer for us, but like just putting a label on the beer that already existed, and then did a lot of promotion, and we played a show that they set up, and they just print a lot of like posters for buses and stuff like that, and they were just like, hey, remember to support these bands, and we want to make a difference for like the music for these bands who were up and coming before COVID hit. So that was a fun project to be involved with.
Good for them. Good for them to. It's a big beer company to do that. It's like not a small craft thing. It's a big beer company. I wouldn't even call it craft beer, but and I have drank a bunch of them playing in Aarhus. What was the venue there in Aarhus?
Was it Vauxhall?
Yes, exactly.
Or Atlas?
At Vauxhall.
Yeah.
100% Vauxhall.
Yeah.
I drank a lot of rail exports there, as things tend to happen on tour, as we mentioned earlier. But
yes, absolutely.
But if you could make your own, like where it's brewed, an actual Konvent beer, I've had something tinkering in my mind for Konvent for a while. I love the Danish craft beer scene. I'd love to step my feet over there with a collab with Konvent. What style of beer would you make it, and what would you call it?
It's funny because I always imagine it being 4 different beers because we're pretty different in the band. So like I would definitely have some sort of maybe yuzu IPA, and Julie would definitely just have a straight up Pilsner, like no funny business, just straight up old fashioned Pilsner. And for Heidi, it would definitely be a cider. Yeah, because she's not a big beer person, but she loves ciders. And for Sarah, that would probably be something like the Unibrew beer or something like that. Maybe a more powerful one.
Nice Belgian double.
Yeah, she's definitely the beer connoisseur of the band.
Really?
Big beer. Yeah, you have the wrong girl.
Well, you've been my friend the longest, Rikke. That's why. when Napalm says, "Do you want to talk to Konvent?" I was like, "I'll talk to Konvent again." I like that. A new segment, bringing it in right now. I think it's important. We are tough metalheads, but that doesn't mean that we don't have emotions. That doesn't mean that we don't go through tough times. I want to talk about mental health. I want to talk about how you deal with darkness. If ever you're not feeling 100%, what steps do you take that makes you feel better? And as a follow-up question, how would you want your friends to approach you if they felt that you were not doing well?
That's such a good question. So definitely when I am feeling like that, I have a tendency to sort of turn it inwards and kind of not asking for help, because I've developed this habit throughout, like from my childhood and like from my life, that it must be my fault. So like I should deal with it. But I've been like going to therapy like on and off since I was 21. And I've seen a regular therapist for the past 2 years, who's been really, really good. And that definitely helps. I think everybody should be assigned a therapist.
Everyone should be a human.
Yeah.
It's normal to have feelings. It's normal to feel vulnerable. As evil and as metal as we can be up on stage, we're still humans at heart. And it's important to speak and to be heard. And if there's no one in your life that can act as a therapist, maybe it's best to get one for yourself. And how that's cool. In Denmark, it's like, I imagine it's like in Canada where that's covered by the government. Yeah,
it's you can apply for financial help, but the waiting lists here are just absolutely insane.
Us too. Free things tend to take time, sadly.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for a family doctor.
Oh no,
that's not true. I have one, but if I didn't get the in, I'd still be waiting. As not everything is perfect, but it is important to talk about the way you're feeling and to reach out to your friends when you think they're not okay. How do you respond when if a friend does hit you up saying, "Are you okay?" Is that something that snaps you out of it? Is it something that allows you to vent a little bit because you know that they're there for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I've had many experiences where someone asked if I was okay, and I was like, like, you know what? Actually, I'm not. I'm actually worrying about like this and this and this, and it's like the worries are just there, but I never really like question why they're there or go, oh, I must do something about it, because I don't know. I just worry about everything all the time. But definitely in regards to how you should approach people, I think it can be tough. Like if you observe that your friend is not doing well and you don't know how to handle it, but maybe just think about some simple questions. You don't have to be a therapist to help your friend, but just acknowledging and just by your presence or your concern saying, okay, I'm I'm here for you. You know, people are actually worrying about you, or people care about you. Just by asking, how are you today? Like, do you have something on your mind?
That's a good, like, open-ended questions.
Yeah. Just and it can just be like the simplest questions. It doesn't have to be like a full analysis of your friend's mental health or their childhood or their relationship with their dad or anything like that. Just like if you're worried about a friend and you don't know how to talk about it, just maybe figure out like 3 very simple questions. Like you don't have to be a rocket scientist to show that you care about your friends.
And I think the most important thing is just listening. Once you do open those 3 simple questions, it's important not to talk at that point and let the person have the space. Yeah,
and not necessarily try to come up with a solution.
Because they probably don't even want a solution at that point.
Yeah.
Excellent points. I think it's important. It's a new segment. I'm going to keep bringing it up because we lost a good one a few weeks ago. And
yeah, definitely. That was a hard show to get through. We were in Pilsen in Belgium when we got the news, and we were just all sitting outside, and it was like in between some of the bands, and we were just all in shock. And our tour manager, he knew Trevor, like not as a close friend, but they had performed together before, and like he'd had some contact with him, and he was really shaken by it. And yeah, so it felt a bit weird, like going on stage and having to perform when you just receive some news like that.
Put the mask on.
Yeah, but I mean, we gave him a shout out like during the set and just said like, okay, tonight we play for Trevor.
He was a good one. He was one of the best.
That's all we can do. Yeah. I didn't know him, never talked to him, but he just seemed like such a nice guy. I mean, he's just someone that everybody knows.
He was the best. Rest in peace, bud. One last question. I already asked you the previous time I had you on, but I am curious if it's evolved. You are drinking less at home, but you did just have a massive tour that you're recouping from still. I'm curious what your hangover cure was on this tour. Has it evolved? Has it changed since the previous time we were together? On this tour, did you develop any new habits to make you feel better? What was your hangover cure on this run? It's
so funny that you asked, because I was actually thinking about that question when on tour, and I think I found the perfect answer.
Yes.
Like the best hangover cure is just playing a show. I feel great after playing a show, even if I've been extremely hungover the whole day and haven't had anything to eat because I've been like nauseous and yeah, but also try to drink a lot of water.
Which is good as a vocalist too. So it's a 2-in-1 thing there. But that is true. I have been very badly hungover, and I was playing London, and I was hungover up until I played the show. And then as I played the show, I was like, oh, I feel better now. This is okay. I guess I can go again. But I took it off that night though. But
it's like all the adrenaline just comes in like a fist and just like knocks out the hangover from your body. And it's like, okay, I can take up all the space now. And yeah, then when we walk off stage, you're fine.
And then round two begins. Rikke, thank you so much for hanging out with me yet again, talking about life, music, craft beer. I had an absolute blast. I really appreciate hanging out with you every time. Next time it will be in the flesh, hopefully on a North American tour. If not, I'm over there. We will connect. Rikke, thank you so much. It's amazing. Cheers.
Cheers. Hey.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, this was an awesome hang. I am just so stoked with how goddamn huge Konvent has become throughout the pandemic. From that first chat that we had at the beginning of the pandemic till now, they've just blown up. I am so proud of them. I'm a huge fan, and I cannot wait to hang out with Rikke face to face, enjoying a brew, enjoying not a brew, just hanging out. I don't care. I want to hang out with Rikke face to face. Massive cheers to you, Rikke. Thank you so much for hanging out with me yet again. If you haven't checked out the new Konvent record, do it. Trust me, you're going to like it. Now, if you enjoyed this Vox and Hops episode, you should sign up to the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast's mailing list. You can do that on my website, voxandhops.com. That's VOXANDHOPS.com. When you do that, you shall receive one email a month that contains all of the details of everything that has happened recently in the world of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. You'll get to see which episodes I've released recently. You'll get to see which episodes I have coming up. You'll get to see which albums the Vox and Hops album review crew have reviewed recently. You'll get to see any information about any projects I have in the works before I announce them to the public. And trust me, I always have a bunch of things going on behind the scenes. You also get to see which albums Jerry Monk, the metal architect himself, has added to the Brutal Awakenings playlist, the most extreme, fresh, new music that is dropping every week. Jerry listens to it all somehow, and he puts it on the playlist for you to enjoy. It's available on both Apple Music and Spotify. The Brutal Awakenings playlist is what you want to be listening to. Trust me. There's just so much going on in the world of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. I hate for you to miss a single thing, so sign up to the mailing list. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer rest of the week. I will be back next week with 2 episodes, one on Tuesday and another on Friday. But until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.